District Attorney James Fox has a case of it right now. He says he'd never heard of excited delirium until Ricky Escobedo caused a ruckus from the balcony of his ex-girlfriend's apartment, and she called police.
He started talking about bugs biting him, although he had a jacket on. Talked about a dead cat that was on the balcony, which of course the officer could not see because there was no dead cat.
It was quickly apparent that Ricky Escobedo was not going to leave, but when one of the two officers tried to frisk him for weapons, the fight was on.
Two officers on one guy?
Actually, it ultimately ended up that there were 6 officers on one guy before he was finally placed in leg restraints.
Within minutes, the police discovered he had stopped breathing.
By the time that the paramedics saw him, he had expired.
Ricky Escobedo suffered cardiac arrest, and as with Tony Steele and Nathaniel Jones, blood tests revealed the presence of a stimulant in his system, in this case, methamphetamine. But while all of that is true, it is the next line on the medical examiner's report that attorney Randy Daar takes strong exception to, the one listing a primary cause of death as excited delirium.
It is a blame-shifting phrase. It is a phrase that shifts the blame from the person exerting the force to the person that dies.
Your fault. You killed yourself.
Blame the victim. Blame the victim.
Randy Daar is taking the city of Redwood and the police to court on behalf of the Escobedo family, arguing that the real problem is that doctors are using foggy science to disguise police brutality.
There's a guy on his neck, there's 5 or 6 cops on him. He's screaming for help. There must be 1,200 pounds on top of this guy.
You're saying the police killed Ricky Escobedo?
Yes.
Homicide.
Homicide.
His proof, he says, comes from an autopsy that found a long list of injuries, including 2 broken bones around Ricky Escobedo's throat, 8 broken ribs, plus internal bleeding. Randy Daar says the cops simply crushed the man to death when they restrained him. But District Attorney Fox launched an investigation, and he then saw it in a very different way.
In this case, the result of our investigation was the officers were not guilty of anything.
Did the fact that the coroner found that excited delirium was a part of this death, did that make your decision easier?
Yes, it did. Yes.
His fault.
He was the one who had broken the law by using the drugs. The effect of the drugs, I think, was the contributing factor to his death, the excited delirium.
The truth is usually what's right in front of your face and not some long, convoluted explanation. And what you got right in front of your face is a man suffocated with extensive injuries. Why are we looking somewhere else?
How else would you have the police handle a situation like that?
Rather than dealing with it as a custody issue, they should have dealt with it as someone with a handicap. They certainly had enough force present that they could have protected themselves and the scene without engaging in a violent confrontation with someone they already knew was unstable.
Put your hands behind your back!
So, is it the struggle that kills, or is it the excited delirium? No one knows for sure, but in Cincinnati, the coroner ruled that the fight with police led to the death of Nathaniel Jones, and research shows that a struggle can ramp up the effects of excited delirium by pushing the heart beyond its limits, especially in someone who has abused drugs. Nathaniel Jones was already suffering from heart disease. Ricky Escobedo's heart probably began to fail when he was restrained, the coroner found. And Tony Steele's autopsy found his restraint may have been as much a factor in his death as the drug-induced excited delirium. But the police never faced any criminal charges. The case, however, did mark an important moment in the national debate over restraint that continues to this day. Excited delirium or not, the San Diego police decided how you restrain someone could in fact mean the difference between life and death.
So you're going to roll him to the side again?
So it now trains its officers, don't leave anyone face down, and make sure you monitor him from the moment of arrest. For 3 years, not one person died in police custody.
Do you think that what the San Diego police have done since then and the way they teach how to restrain people has saved lives?
Definitely.
But you don't think this would have saved Tony Steele?
I really don't think so. I just feel that that the narcotics had a hold of him, and I think it was slowly taking the life from him.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
What do you think killed him?
Hog tying and suffocation. He suffocated. That's what I believe.
Dorothy Nelson sued the San Diego police in civil court, but in the end, a jury decided that what happened after Sergeant Dawn Summers came face to face with Tony Steele may have been tragic, but it was all in the line of duty.
I look back and I wish it would have been different. I wish he wouldn't have done those drugs. I wish he wouldn't have been a felon. I wish a lot of things. But I honestly don't know what I could have done different that day. I think he was dying, basically, little bit by little bit when I first met him in that intersection. That's how I look back at it.